Hey everyone, it's Abby and welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year to everyone, or should I say Happy New Year. I hope 2025 is off to a great start for you, and in the spirit of tradition, I will be sharing today my 2025 planners and journal setup. If you're new here, hi, I'm Abby. I'm an artist, author, and creator, and I specialize in creative and travel journaling, and I help you document your life and travels. Before we continue, I have two things to share with you. The first one being my Skillshare class launches this January 11th, so make sure to check out my Skillshare profile and follow me over on Skillshare for updates. The class will be all about everyday journaling, 5 creative ways to document your life. I do hope you look forward to it. I've been working on it since last fall, and I'm very excited to share it with you as the new year is approaching and as we start journaling for this year. Another thing is, if you haven't yet, I have shared a more in-depth overview of my 2025 planners. Actually, I carried it over from 2024, and I talk a lot more about how I use my analog system in conjunction with my digital system because I use Notion for work as well as other project management tools. So if you're interested to geek out on that department, make sure to check out that video, which I will also link down below. First things first, we'll start with the planners. So I am actually using, well, technically this is the only planner, but this is also my planner, I would say. So first things first is, this is the 𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚔 1917 A5 dotted notebook. That was a mouthful to say. Basically, it's my work Bible, and it's where I track a lot of work admin, life admin, chores, things I need to cook, errands. It's basically a catch-all for being a 31-year-old adult. I think that's the best way to kind of encapsulate it. I also realized that in the past years, when I kept a bullet journal, I had a bullet journal phase in 2017, 2018. This was the kind of notebook that I always had with me, and I think that's something I want to carry over to this year because I realized that the constraints of having a planner that's dated means that I don't have enough space to actually write all the tasks. Sad to say, I have a lot of tasks that I need to finish, not just in a given day, but also in a given week. And what I like to do is every Monday or Sunday, I like to kind of write out everything that I need to get done here and kind of position it accordingly, and then work through my digital counterpart and project management tools to kind of make everything work. So on the topic of planners, the actual planner that I have is the plotter. So say hi in the comments if you're using a plotter this year. This is the Plotter Naro. It was gifted to me, and I think this is one of my favorite things that I received last year in 2024. So I've been using the plotter since July 2024. I have yet to make a video, but I definitely want to show you my setup once I get it set up. What I plan to do here is, it's going to be my EDC. So if you don't know, I travel a lot, mostly for work, a lot for personal. I also live in Europe, so anytime I have the urge to travel, I will just do that, but not all the time. But that's to say, this is something I bring with me every time I'm traveling because it's super compact. It fits all my bags, and I think that's such a good indicator of how compact and portable it is. And the great thing about plotter is you don't have to add too much paper, and it's the ring system that really convinces me on how portable and easy to use this is. Obviously, with the ring system, there's also a lot of learning curves, so I'm still working on it. Right now, I actually have a container full of my plotter refills. So I have like grid, year at a glance, monthly, weekly. So I'll make a video to show you what I ended up putting in my plotter. But right now it's serving me really well. So this planner is going to be kind of like a supplement to the 𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘 that I have. So this is more like week at a glance, month at a glance, appointments, and things that I don't want to miss. So anytime I also have meetings on the go, this is what I'll bring. whatever I get here, I'll just take it out and then toss it, or like figure out where it kind of goes. Like, do I type it out? Do I write it further? Do I brainstorm further? So hopefully that made sense, and those are my planners for 2025. So now let's move on to the journals. So if you may or may not know, I managed to finish this chunky journal in 2024. This is the 𝚖𝚘𝚘𝚔 Techo. I want to say that I was so surprised at the reception, and I think we have over like 100,000 views for this video. I talked about my daily journaling habits, so thank you so much for that. This is one day, one page, meaning you write for every day there is one designated page. Because of this, obviously I got the same one for this year. It's just that I'm not using the camp cover anymore. Right now I'm very fixated on this I don't know, sweater cover. It's still winter here in Berlin, so I think it's just a nice pop of color. And I know in the listing it said like it was mustard, but it comes off more like chartreuse, and I really like it because it has this like 60s colorway, and it's not too dull, but it also is a nice bright spot on my desk. So this is the Midori sweater cover. I'll link it down below. I got it from Yoseka. So right now I have it like this. So this is the A6. It's the same one, it's just out of the cover, and I used an MD A6 clear cover. Right now it's not chunky yet. I don't know if I want to make it too chunky. My goal is to actually not. But I've been really enjoying it, and I have started journaling, obviously. So my setup hasn't been fully complete. Like, I don't know what to put in the months, so I'll get back to you on that. I know I get a lot of questions about the yearly index and the monthlies. I don't know what to do with them because last year I actually didn't use it. But yeah, these are some of my entries for the first week of 2025. And because I've been using this for a year already, I know that I will be able to finish it. I go by my rule of not having too much backlog, and after 3 days of not updating, I have to really sit down and journal for at least 10 minutes. So right now I'm really happy with this setup. Let's see how things fare out. And what I usually write for the A6 journal is more stream of consciousness stuff. If you flip through my pages, I don't intend for people to read my journal pages, but also I am well aware that I'm a public figure and there might be times that you might be able to snoop in and see. That's why I sometimes put post-its and sticky notes to kind of block if there's something private that I've written. But on that note, I write a lot about how the day happened. It's very reporter style, like I woke up like this. These days it's always like I woke up really late because of my jet lag, because I went to LA for the holidays. And then I'll try to write about like what I cooked, what I worked on, or something important that day. And yes, if you're wondering, I do bring this to my trips. I think it's just nice to not come back to empty pages. And actually last year I only had one empty page. For some reason I forgot to update it, but one empty page out of 366 pages is actually a good feat. And I don't know if you should be surprised or not, but this is actually the first time I finished a full journal, like a day, one page journal. So yeah, this is the 𝚖𝚘𝚘𝚔 Techo, and I'm gonna be using it again this year. On the topic of personal journaling, I don't know if I always mention this, but I do have a separate notebook/journal that is really existing for reflections and feelings. I think I mentioned this in my weekend journaling routine a couple of videos back. So at the time I was using a 𝚖𝚘𝚘𝚔 plain notebook, and I think the A5 size is really just not serving me anymore when it comes to journaling. There's just a lot to fill up, and I don't have that much time and energy to write that much. I also used to do tarot reading before every new moon and full moon, and this year I kind of want to scrap that because there's just a lot of things that are already happening during these times. Like, I'm very big on astrology and kind of getting in tune with my emotional state and reflection, and I don't know if it still serves me well to actually draw cards during the new moon and full moon. That's just my personal opinion. So I think I want to draw either every month or every quarter or every week, depending on how I feel. But on that note, that plain notebook, I retired it and now I switched to, surprise, surprise, a traveler's notebook. So this is actually my excuse because I have maybe 6 covers, like 3 regular and 3 passport, and I barely use them. So I was like, okay, this one has a really nice scribe patch on it that I got from Chicago a couple years back, and this is the olive cover that came out in 2023, I believe. So I decided to just put in an insert and to use it as my personal journal. So this is actually from Note and Wish, which is owned by one of my good friends, Jess. Hi, Jess. So I got their notebook, and this is like 120 pages of really thick paper, and it's dotted. Here we go again with the dotted. So I just started to kind of jot down how I feel, and this is not something I want to do daily. Maybe like I'll do it on Sundays and Wednesdays, kind of a midweek check-in, and also Sunday check-in. And I kind of want to use this as a space to really hold space for how I feel at that moment and like be a judgment-free zone. So that's my plan. I don't have any set rules, no stationery, just like free writing. And I don't plan to take it out of the house unless I really want like a journaling session where I do it at a cafe, but that kind of varies. I think it depends on my schedule, but yeah, this is gonna be a nice personal journal. I don't know if I'll be able to keep it up, but knowing how much, this is like 120 pages, so I think there'll be enough for me for the year because I don't plan to update it every day. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. You might know that I do a lot of media journaling. I watch a lot of films. I watch a lot of TV shows. I consume a lot of music and podcasts. But this year, I'm going to scrap the media journal. I do have one that I just use from time to time, but I think I intently just don't want to log media anymore. The reason being, I don't know if I want to keep logging, especially if I don't know if I liked the show, for example. So then I kind of just log my favorites. And second of all, did you know I have a Substack? So my Substack is entitled Scene Selection, and it's meant to be like a commentary and a space for me to write about films, TV, music, and everything that encompasses media. Sometimes I also write essays there. So I want to hone the habit of updating that more and maybe do like a monthly recap of like, this is the media I consumed versus journaling about it. Because, you know, when it comes to journaling, I have to print the posters, I have to do this and that, and I don't know if I have that much time and energy to do it this year, and I felt good admitting that to myself so that I don't feel so overwhelmed with the amount of journals I have. I also did a core memories journal insert last fall, and I think I will continue this every fall. Like, I like having an autumn insert because it's my favorite season, and there's just a lot of things that kind of surround autumn, you know, like pumpkin lattes, going out for walks. But apart from that, I don't know if I want to keep having like a separate journal to keep other ephemera. So I'm really sticking to this, just the daily journal and the personal journal. However, since I am well aware that I make content on here and also on Instagram and share ideas and inspiration, I do have a MD A6 journal. So that's actually the journal that I use for my Skillshare class because I wanted to be timeless, and obviously that journal hasn't been filled up. So from time to time, you'll probably see me use it here on this channel, which I'll probably mention in the Journal With Me video specifically for that notebook. Last but not least, of course, let's talk about travel journaling. I will be honest, I have not finished my 2024 journals. So I actually have 2 inserts right here. This one has my US trip one, which is almost done. Maybe I'll do a flip through in February or something. And right here, I still have my 2024 Europe trip. So I still have a couple of spreads from my Arl trip that I haven't written on, but I've already kind of decorated. So obviously for travel, by default we're using Traveler's Notebook. So I don't know exactly if I'm going to be using regular or passport. I want to keep my options open. I know last year I mentioned that I'm strictly using passport except for when I went to the US because I needed to teach workshops and I needed to show the larger size. But this year, I think it depends on the trip. But one thing I want to organize is to not have to finish a lot of travel inserts, if that makes sense. So for example, maybe I could do like a quarterly basis, or like depending on the city or the duration of time I'm spending in a certain area. I haven't really thought about it because my trips this year haven't really been planned out. And I'd like to keep it that way. I don't like planning my year at the start of the year. I also have gotten a lot of questions if I'm going to be part of some events. I will not tell you until I get final info and until I decided it. So I do hope you refrain from asking those, because from now until like the next few months, I still don't know how things are gonna go for me. There's just a lot of moving parts with life admin and I don't wanna have to disclose it to you, but there's just a lot of things that are happening, and I'm an immigrant and there's a lot of bureaucracy and admin stuff that I need to sort through. So I would appreciate a lot of luck and good vibes for the next, I wanna say next 3 months until I get stuff sorted. But yeah, for travel journaling, I'm excited because it's something that I've always done, you know, and Traveler's Notebook is always something that I've been using, and I love to continue using things because part of me is always like, oh, I don't have to like adapt to a new system. And I think with the totality of the Techo Kaigi that I have and the setup that I have, the only changes are more in the planning department, which is something that I'm used to because every year my plans change and I like to really figure out what's the best workaround with how I plan my days and my tasks. But I think now I'm pretty confident with how it is. Sometimes I rewatch my old Techo Kaigi videos. I think I have one from like 2018. I didn't know what I was thinking at the time, but a lot of things definitely change. You'll see that I don't have Hobonichi weeks anymore. I kind of outgrew this idea of like, I have to have journals or planners that a lot of people talk about because then a lot of people will look at it. I'm like, yeah, but I have to admit to myself that there are some things that I prefer doing, and I really stay true to what I document with and the tools I use. I'm not being paid to say this. I just find tools that really work for my lifestyle and my choices and my priorities, and in some way I hope that gives you some insights on how I plan to use these journals. And as always, you'll see a lot more of these journals and planners in the next months as I'll be sharing a lot of updates here on my YouTube channel. And one last thing is actually the travel journal setup. I am going on a trip next week, so once I get that set up, I'll make a video and show you what I plan to use, so then you can have an idea on how my travel journal kit will kind of come together for this 2025. Okay, so I think that's enough yapping for me, but thank you so much for watching this Techo Kaigi video / planners and journal setup video. I would love to know what you'll be using this year. Let me know in the comments. And I'd also love to know what your word is for the year. You don't have to share it, but I want to share mine because I don't want to share my vision board. That's something that I felt like when I was working on it, I actually pasted it in a lot of my journals and my planners. I was like, I don't want people to know what's in my vision board. I'll probably show you at the end of the year. Fingers crossed, a lot of things happen in the vision board, but my word of the year is actually balance. And I am actually a Capricorn Sun, Libra Moon, Pisces rising. So the Libra Moon kind of influenced the idea of balance because I can be a really intense person when it comes to work. And my goal this year is to make time for other parts of my life and to balance it out. I also noticed that I tend to max out on work for a certain day, and then the next day I'm kind of dead. Like, it's not balanced in that sense, and I really want to also have more time off. I don't know how to do that, but I should plot it in my calendar at some point. So yeah, so my word is balance. I just want to keep everything afloat and not have to sacrifice one thing over the other. Contrary to popular belief, I think last year I really like maxed out on my career, and that's to say it was good for what it was and the opportunities came like abundantly, but I think a lot of my mental state has been affected by that, and I don't want to have that kind of feeling again coming into 2025. I also just realized that I have a really full and vibrant life outside of work as well, and I want to discover more of who I am outside of work. Wow, this feels like a TED Talk / therapy session. But yeah, that's my word for the year: balance. Work-life balance, yin and yang, things like that. So yeah, I'd love to know what your plans are for the year, and let's chat in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will share it once again because I like to self-promote as much as I can. My Skillshare class is coming this January 11th. Make sure to check it out. It's going to be 5 days of journaling, and you can start on Monday if you're going to be starting on the 11th. But you can start anytime because you can journal anytime. I hope that this setup video gave you some ideas on how you can use your journals. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll try to respond as fast as I can. Thank you again for watching. Always be creating, and have a lovely rest of 2025. Bye!